Hi, welcome to the CollabCast. I'm editor Katie Cusack, and I'm here with Jade Warrick, the TrashKiD, graphic artist and illustrator. Welcome.
Welcome.
So what is the story behind your Instagram tag, TrashKiD Art, and sort of like the name that you go by for your work?
So I actually came up with TrashKiD. I've had it since I was around probably 5, 6 years old. Grew up pretty homeless as a kid. You know, I had like 7 siblings. We grew up in like cars, hotels, that kind of thing growing up. And so we always referred ourselves to like kind of trash kids, not in a more deprecating way, but that's just like was our little like club, like tribe name. We're like Trash Kids of Gambino or something like that. So it kind of just stuck. Because I was like, that's kind of, I don't see myself really as like I still feel like inside I'm still a trash kid, you know, but that's kind of where it just came from, just growing up in like the hood, the ghettos of Inglewood and, you know, stuff like that, and just being a bunch of fucking trash kids. How can I say that? I'm sorry.
It's totally
bleep that out.
That's right.
That's about it. That is where the name pretty much comes from. It's just like my past of like being just, you know, in the jungle of Inglewood, California.
Something to hold on to. So what brought you to New York from California?
I actually came from my grandmother. I really love her a lot. I missed her. She needed some help with some medical issues, and just came to be supportive and be near her. So that's one of the main reasons I moved here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been pretty involved in sort of the arts community around here. I mean, you did that really sick cover for the Alt Weekly.
Yes, I did.
Last year for the food and arts issue. No, food and drink issue.
Food and drink, yeah.
And a lot of cool inside elements, really like personifying these like food characters, which is very much your style.
Oh yeah.
If people can check out your Instagram, I think it's definitely worth your time. It's a good time.
Please do.
So what got you into sort of like drawing comics and your style?
So probably go back to being a kid again.
Yeah.
We were pretty bored as kids. We were all, as again, slightly homeless half the time, and we had a lot of time on our hand, and we were all homeschooled as well. Most of us were homeschooled. So we spent a lot of our time just drawing, making stories, because we didn't have anything to entertain. We grew up in a very conservative Christian family, and so cartoons wasn't a thing, video games were not a thing. It was like reading and drawing was like a big thing. So I grew up reading a lot and drawing a lot, and my sisters would become bored, and we couldn't really afford like comic books or like games or anything, so we would spend hours just like making like Monopoly boards. We would just make like actual game systems. We make our own Pokemon cards. So we just like drew and created everything for us, including books. Like we would make comic books just to keep each other entertained. And so that's where it just started from, just like keeping my siblings entertained, and it's just stuck since then. And my mom was an artist too. She's really, really good, and she went to school for fashion design and everything like that. So I think her talent kind of trickled down a little bit through us. But that is where it started from, mostly just like trying to keep my sisters entertained and distracted and stuff like that.
It's so funny because I definitely remember like drawing Pokemon cards for like me and my brothers would do the same thing. So it's like, oh, like I like that character, but I want a slightly different one. And like it'd be cool if they had these powers, and like
that's kind of what we did. We basically made our own like Dungeons Dragons, like kind of like tabletop gaming system. They weren't exactly Pokemon, but they were just like our own like just made up thing.
Exactly.
But it was really fun, and they enjoyed it. So that's
what were your like kind of favorite characters to start working on? Do you have some that you still draw today that kind of star in your work?
Not really, actually. My first comic book character I ever drew was the starfish called Captain Squigglefish.
Amazing.
And it was just like this, I think I did that at like 6 years old, and that was the first one. I probably drew that for like 10 years after that, and then I just stopped. It was mostly still to keep my sisters entertained, and I did like a couple of others, like about a robot detective, and like this really sad guy named Toby. Like all these, it was a plethora, but I stopped. I stopped like illustrating those kind of characters because once I moved away from my siblings and stuff, they didn't really, you know, I mostly did it to like keep them entertained, and like, you know, they would wait weekly for me to come up with this like little comic book idea or something like that. But ever since we kind of like separated and parted ways and like grew apart a little bit, like I haven't really drawn any of that stuff. So I more just moved to my own style and like just doing whatever I feel comes to me.
How has your style changed more recently in terms of characters and the way that you draw and approach illustration?
I'm trying to do more with colors. Like, I love colors. I love the psychology of colors. I love color theory.
Ooh, interesting.
So everything I do, I try to make the colors really have like an emotional like reaction. Like my Beyond Rosie coloring book that I did. You see that pink, the black, the white, like how those all kind of relate and go together really well. So I'm trying to experiment a lot with like colors and design.
Yeah.
Like those two are two big ones. And I'm doing more like digital art. There was a time where I just did a lot of painting, a lot of just pen and ink illustration, and now I'm trying to get better at digital. So that's what I'm trying to move on to a little bit.
Has there been like hurdles in sort of learning the digital art process?
Yeah, because if you're just used to like painting and drawing and traditional ways of art, and then you get a tablet thrown in front of you, you're like, oh, what the heck am I supposed to do? Like, how is this? And then you're a little angry at first. You're like, why don't I do this? I'm just going to stick to painting and traditional. What is this futuristic bullcrap? But eventually I got really into it, and I've become better after watching like a few tutorials and stuff like that, and just self-teaching, to be honest. A lot of the stuff I just self-taught myself on. So, yeah.
And, you know, with your Beyond Rosie project, that was debuted kind of in the latest issue of the Collaborative, our 4th issue. And I'd love to talk about, you have it here, sort of the look of it and your concept behind it, and sort of like, what was it is this your first like major project in terms of like putting a booklet together or something, some kind of pamphlet in this way?
Major project that is not related to my career and job and everything that I've done by myself. Yes, 100%.
Sort of like your artistic work.
Yeah. I was really excited about it because I thought that we were missing people. Like we were missing like a population being represented.
Right.
I think that we as Americans don't really have a good outlook on other types of feminism besides what is ours. And unfortunately, ours seems to be a lot of celebrity-based feminism. And I thought that kind of sucks. And it's also not just celebrity feminism or like celebrities leading the feminist movement. It's that a lot of these celebrities are not of color. That's well. So it's also like, oh, celebrities are leading the movement as well, but they're also not celebrities of color.
Right.
And I think that America is so integrated with so many types of people that we should have, we should know about feminists that are from all over the world that have done so much but are not really represented in our culture.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really important to broadcast, and I wanted it to be accessible for all types of ages, everyone. And yeah, it's kind of just like an idea that I just came up with when I was just like, we're missing this. It's kind of annoying, and I think we should have it, and I think it should be accessible, and I think it should be fun.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's why I kind of just came up with that. And a lot of people who've read it said they don't even know half of the women in there, which is
for sure.
good.
Right.
Which is good and bad.
It's good and bad. Right, exactly.
It's like you should know about them, but at the same time, now you do.
Yeah, now you
know at least 10 extra women that have contributed so much to the feminist movement. Feminist movements and liberation all over the world, from Puerto Rico to India to Africa. Like, it's crazy. There's like so many people out there that we don't know about. And this book only covers 10. So that's not even, that's just a pin.
That's what's so interesting about it, sort of just leafing through. And for those who don't know, this is a educational feminist coloring book. So it features 10 feminists from around the world, with little bios and links where you can go learn more about each person. And just leafing through it, there are so many people that I was unfamiliar with. And so, but like, it's that sort of like education system, but like it is because it's like we're presented with a certain amount of people and certain types of people who were like, it's almost like they were safely feminists.
Yes.
Where like that's another thing that I noticed about going through the book is like these are people who
were underground doing the hard, dirty work. Right. They were actually trying to liberate, even if they use violence sometimes. They had to use violence because they're being pushed back. Their rights are being pushed back. And they're being basically, these women are being pushed back to the Middle Ages, and they're basically like, no, we're not gonna go back to that. We're gonna fight about it. And then people consider them terrorists, and they're not. They're not terrorists. They're just trying to protect themselves, and that's it. And I think they get a bad rep for that, and I think that that's really upsetting. Yeah. You shouldn't get a bad rep for trying to protect your nation and your in your gender, in your race.
And yourself. Yeah, yourself, exactly. What was the research process like going into this? I mean, this is very different than sort of like your usual work that people may know you for. It's like
I know this is very different.
Funny
a little bit.
comics, and this is like a very different
approach
focus and educational and.
So I love education. I always loved working in education. My grandmother, who I love, is really big in education, and I grew up around her, mostly with her my whole life. So I got to see how her being a teacher and a leader with children affected their lives in a positive way. And I grew up around that, so I always liked that. So I've always wanted to work within education, but I also like design as well. Yeah. So I wanted to like combine the two. And so my process for this was I talked to people who are not from the U.S. So I talked to like my boss who's Puerto Rican. I asked her, okay, in your culture, who is the big person for you? Yeah. My girlfriend's Egyptian. So in her culture, I was like, who is the big person for you? Yeah. So I asked people who are not from America, or their families are not from America, who are the people who they consider or who represents them in their cultures for like femininity or just being like a liberator or like who's protecting women in your area. I want to know, not just like, because researching, you can just get random people. You can just get the typical pop culture, whatever. It's like, I want to know from the people Roosevelt. Who are actually on the ground, like who is the person that is important to you for women's rights. And I did that, gathered that data, gathered the names. I spent probably about 5 months watching interviews of the women I chose, reading multiple articles. I couldn't even source all of them in there because it would have been like 5-6 pages of like sources. Watching YouTube videos, reading articles about just as much in books, reading books like Audre Lorde books, watching Angela Davis documentaries, like just trying to gather as much information from as many sources as I could so I could make it as unbiased as possible, because I just want people to know. I don't want to put a bias or a view. I just want to give people a bird's eye perspective on these women and then have them make their own decisions if like they support what they do or not. Yeah, but this is the work that they've done. Yeah, this is the work they've done, unbiasedly. If you like it, you don't. If you do, good. Yeah. But they did contribute a lot, and I tried to point out how much they contribute and everything like that to society as well. And I just think it's important because so many kids, kids and young girls, sometimes they don't have, people that really have done the dirty work to look up to. I'm like, I don't know if if Demi Lovato's the best feminist to look up to at like 10 years old. I mean, she's great and all, but I'm like, there's other people who've done so much more and have provided so much more to the feminist and liberation movement. Yeah, there's a difference between sort of like the celebrity aspect where they're very easy to put on a pedestal because they're already there. Yes. So it's like, did they really do the work to get there? Yes, or are they just being advertised? As, Yeah. Yeah. So. Are they here for, Yeah, these women, a lot of these women, like a lot of people. Have lost a lot. Yeah, have lost not only a lot, but you can tell like a lot of their, the media in their area, they do not care for them very much because they are fighting and putting up a movement. They're not going with that narrative their media or their country wants. Right. They're not going to be the goody two-shoes or whatever like that. They're going to actually fight and put the effort and go against the grain and go against the misogyny of their government and like go against all that stuff, which is what I liked about them. Yeah. So. What sort of for you is the most powerful thing of like pairing this need to educate people about women or non-men around the world who are doing this through art, like through a way that they could like artistically be a part of it, which is what's really interesting. So do you mean like why did I do it in this format? Yeah. So I did in this format because one, I like design. And two, so I do a lot of informational design and instructional design as part of my work as well. And so I wanted to place it in a format where people would actually absorb the information without feeling too overwhelmed. Right. So I wanted to get the information across to people, and especially younger people. Like getting people under 13 to like take in a lot of information is pretty difficult, and for it to actually stay with them. Yeah. So I wanted to do it in a way where it was digestible, it was entertaining. It's a coloring book. Coloring books are pretty trendy right now. It's like very interactive. Yeah, so it's interactive, and it's just in a digestible format where it leaves, and I wrote it so it leaves people wanting to learn more about the women. And I just thought that was just, that's just the way I designed it. I just thought that would capture people's attention and actually want them to learn more. Right. That's pretty much why I threw it in a coloring book. I thought if I just threw it in like an article or a book or something like that, people would look at it and be like, so much information. I don't really care, you know.
And it's like easy to just skim.
Yeah, it's just easy to just skim. Whereas like this, you have like the person's face, you know, you have like the main focus of the person's face. You have the quote in the corner. You have like a little paragraph about them. And then if you want to learn more, I put some like little tidbits in the back where you could just quick at a glance, just learn a couple more facts about them. And then if that's not enough for you, or if you just want more information about them, you could just go research them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to get people, you know, actually learning more. And then you may just get stuck down some tunnel where you're just researching about more, and then you find so many other feminists or so many other people who like contribute to like the feminist movement across the world. So.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And since you've put this out, it's been pretty well received. I know you've sent it pretty far. Where are
where are they located?
Where are these locations?
So my friend in Los Angeles, who's really big in the queer community and the art community there, she has some. She's going to be placing them out and tagging the galleries they're at, I think, this weekend.
Great.
They are also in Philadelphia now. They'll be at a couple of feminist bookstores there and a couple of galleries. They're in Austin. They're in Austin, Texas. They're in Dallas, Texas. I'm now shipping them to Houston, Texas soon. They just got at Blue Stockings, which is this awesome feminist bookstore in New York City. So Blue Stockings just got us several copies. Where else are they? I think I'm missing like one more state, but that's pretty much like where they're located. I just wanted to just get them like across places I used to live or that I had friends at where they could just like spread out. So, because I want them to be accessible. They're not too accessible because that's still like in isolated cities like Los Angeles, Houston, Texas, what are all those places. But hopefully, if they're well received, maybe I could print thousands of them and start shipping them all over the world or all over the nation.
Yeah.
I have shipped a couple to UK. I put like on Reddit. People found it on Reddit. So they were like, "Can you send me one for my daughter in the UK?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you want to pay?" And they're like, "I'll totally pay the $63 in shipping." And I'm like, "All right,
that's amazing."
Yeah. So people actually are very interested in it and actually find it really useful. And everyone at my job has it. Their daughters love it. Like, it's crazy. So like 10-year-old little daughters are like, "Oh my God, I love Marsha P. Johnson." I'm like, "Yes, Marsha P. Johnson's amazing." I'm glad.
That's fantastic.
I know. So.
Are there places locally, sort of in the region, where people can find them?
So they're at that store, which is on Lark. It is a local smoke shop. Yeah. It is at Neon Dog, which is also on Lark, which is a luxury thrift shop. It's at Lark and Flowers, which like so many Lark, it's in a lot of places on Lark. It's at the Lark Flower Shop. And then it's at the Albany Art Center Gallery, which is located on Broadway. So those are the top 4 places that they're at.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then Albany School District actually hit me up not too long ago because I have a friend who's a teacher at one of these schools, and they said that they would be open to giving me a grant to print them so they could put it in their curriculum.
Wow.
Yeah. It's I think they're at their all-girls schools, but I don't know if they'll branch out to like more public spaces or something like that. But I know that there's a few all-girls schools in Albany that they want to actually supply these books to, especially since these schools have a lot of kids of color. And they know of these women in here.
Right, they recognize
So they recognize them. So they like that these girls are being targeted. Like they're like that they're seeing people that's important to them back home.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's getting there. It's getting some traction, which is nice. And it is free. It's always going to remain free, hopefully, regardless of if I get grants or anything like that. I would like it to stay as a free, accessible kind of document or format or something like that.
And it's really interesting, like, just sort of like the power of filling in that space that was missing.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
how well received it can be all over the world.
Yes.
Well, like, and you know, all over the nation here. And just, and then it's building out towards the rest of the world.
Yeah, I know, those 2 people
like,
in the UK. So,
to have people like on Reddit being like, this is cool, I want
Reddit's
in.
a hard, like, with feminism, it's a hard one to deal with Reddit. So the fact that they actually took that slightly kindly without being like, you're pushing an agenda, like, that was really nice. So
that's really great. Do you plan on sort of expanding, doing other projects like this, or
maybe eventually I'll do a Beyond Rosie 2, part 2. Yeah. But right now I'm more focusing on, I don't know the name of it, but I'm working on a same kind of coloring book format kind of document like this, but with inventors of color. because I thought that would be cool, because I feel like there's a lot of inventors of color, either whether they're African American or from Mexico or from South America or Asian or like anything. There's so many people of color who have like done so many things and contributed so many inventions and patents.
Absolutely.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
Like there are things we use every day that we don't even, like, black people have what? We have the guy with the peanut butter. What is his name even? I forgot. I was like, we need more than the peanut butter guy. Like black people have added so much to like Americans, like the stuff we use, like American products and inventions and stuff, and their names just get swept under the rug because back then, like, you didn't want to give a black person I guess credit for anything they created. You could just take it away from them, and that was it. Yeah. And I feel like I want to pinpoint that. Yeah. And be like, we have more than the peanut butter guy, guys.
We have
move
more.
On. I know. So that'll be the next one I'm working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
I'm excited.
And if people want to find you and like check out your work, where can they do that?
Right now I'm in the middle of building my website, but they could go on my Instagram at @TrashKiD_art. And they could just keep updated there until I have my website built up and everything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they can also catch some of your comics in upcoming issues of the Collaborative.
Yes, you
look
can.
out for those. This is going to be great. Thank you so much for coming in and talking about your projects today.
Of course. Can I show this?
Yeah.
Can I be like, Beyond Rosie, everyone. Catch it.